Hello everybody, before we get into today's video, I just want to say thank you very much for the support on the last video. It really means a lot to me because I'm a new channel with basically no subscribers, and it would really help me out if you would subscribe. But let's get to part 2 of this series. If you haven't seen part 1, go watch it, but let's get straight into the video. Let's get into the first game of today's video. The last game of that video was Sweden versus New Zealand, where Sweden won 1-0 with Gyökeres. And today we're starting off in match 15, Group G at the Los Angeles Stadium. As you saw, we were playing a Group G match. So the first Group G match is going to be Greece versus Brazil. Should be an interesting game. If you didn't watch part 1, I'm going to be spinning a wheel and seeing what team I get. So let's spin and let's see if I'm going to be controlling Greece or Brazil. I'm going to be playing Greece. Kickoff at the SoFi Stadium. It's Greece versus Brazil. I feel like this game is going to be crazy. You would probably think Brazil would open the scoring. Well, you would be completely wrong, because Greece scores in the 22nd minute an absolute banger to get them in the lead. That's crazy how they take the lead, but it's 1-0 for Greece. Greece was doing well and all, but 5 minutes after they scored, Brazil did what Brazil normally does. And they score a goal. Neymar Jr. makes it 1-1. Pretty average goal. Minutes just after Brazil scored, surprisingly, Brazil scores again, with Brazil making it 2-1. Of course they are, because they're Brazil. Like, who can stop them? I'm not gonna say anything, just watch. Brazil scores in 15 minutes, 3 goals. Greece have already lost 35 minutes in. In the 40th minute, Greece could have scored another banger, but it was sadly saved. And that's the halftime whistle, as Brazil has a 2-goal advantage, and let's see if Greece can make a comeback. And the second half begins. Let's see what it brings. 20 minutes after the second half started, we saw our first shot from Greece. It could have been a good goal, but sadly it didn't go in. Greece could have made it 2-3 with a long shot, but it was unfortunately saved by the keeper. In the 82nd minute, Greece should have scored their second goal, but was unfortunately denied by the bar. And that's the final whistle. Brazil wins 3-1 over Greece. Let's go to the groups, and let's see how the groups are looking. After the game between Brazil and Greece, this is how Group G is looking. Brazil is sitting in first, and that's of course with the first game that played. Chile and South Korea haven't played yet, so I think they're the next game actually. But yeah, then Greece is in last place. Let's find out who are we going to be playing for our second match of today's video. It will be match 18, Group I at the Boston Stadium. I've come to Group I to see where we can be playing. We are going to be playing Switzerland versus Tunisia. I'm going to be spinning the wheel now to see if we're going to be playing Switzerland or Tunisia. We are going to be playing Tunisia. And we start the game. It's a European team versus an African team. 90 minutes decides everything. In the 4th minute, Switzerland thought they opened the scoring with good duo, but sadly it was offside. Fortunately for Kudwa Dua, he would eventually score his goal 7 minutes after the offside. "20 minutes after Switzerland scored, they had a good chance with the header but was unfortunately over the bar. Switzerland was the far better team in this game and they almost scored a goal in the 36th minute. And that's the first half done. Tunisia are not having a good start, but Switzerland are. Let's see if the game will change for Tunisia. And the second half starts. Will Switzerland win the game or will Tunisia make a comeback? The first chance of the second half came when Tunisia player Al Saksukuri gave a breakthrough pass to El Mazouni, but unfortunately it was saved by the keeper. Tunisia got their first big chance in scoring and they almost scored until the deflection came in and they scored. El Mazouni puts them 1-1 and they are level. In the 65th minute, Tunisia had a great chance but was unfortunately missed. Sadly, 3 minutes later, Tunisia would make a grave mistake and Switzerland would capitalize and they scored their second goal in the 68th minute. Sad, but it's the football game. Switzerland would have a good chance with a header but was unfortunately not enough power to have a good strike. Tunisia should have scored in the 88th minute to equalize it, but sadly, that lost them the game. And the game ends. Unfortunately, the underdog Tunisia couldn't win Switzerland, but Switzerland got themselves 3 points. So let's go to the groups and see how it affected the groups. After the game between Switzerland and Tunisia, this is how Group I is looking. Argentina is in first place with a respectable 3 points, Switzerland in second place with also 3 points, and then in third and fourth place will be Tunisia and USA. Let's find out who will be our final game of today's video. It will be match 19, Group J at the Kansas City Stadium. I've came to Group J to see what's going to be our last game of today's video. It's going to be Australia versus Iran. Should be an interesting game because they're two Asian teams. Here we are at the wheel. We're going to be spinning the wheel to see what's the last game of today, who I'm going to be controlling for that game, Australia or Iran. So let's spin the wheel. We're going to be playing Australia. It's kickoff between Australia and Iran. Australia should win this. In the 5th minute, Iran should have scored their first goal, but it was unfortunately deflected by the Australian defender. Just seconds later, Iran got a corner and they almost scored, but they unfortunately hit the bar. Iran, it's not your day. Strangely, Australia were playing very bad and Iran was capitalizing until they scored in the 37th minute a goal to put them 1-0 up. And that's the end of the first half, as Australia has been playing very bad and Iran has been playing surprisingly good. Can Iran shock Australia? We'll have to find out. And the second half starts. Can Australia win the game or will Iran shock Australia? 2 minutes after the half started, Jamie McLaren scores an absolute screamer from outside the box to equalize the game 1-1. Australia was playing better and Jamie McLaren got another good shot, but unfortunately it went wide. But only 5 minutes later, Jamie McLaren scores his second goal of the game to make it 2-1. What is happening to Iran? Then 2 minutes after that, Australia almost scored again, but unfortunately it didn't go in. And a couple of minutes later, Jamie McLaren almost scored, but it was saved. 15 minutes go by, and the Australian star scores his hat-trick, and he gets Australia 3-1 in the lead. A couple minutes later, Iran is not finished, and they scored a goal to make it 3-2. They are not done. They can still draw this game. And that's the end of the game. Australia wins 3-2. This has been the best World Cup game by far.
I think over time and
I've now come to Group G after the game between Australia and Iran, and this is how it is looking. Australia is in first with 3 points. Then Uruguay and Denmark are still going to be playing a game, and I think it's maybe next. And then Iran in last place because, yeah, they lost to Australia. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm going to be uploading 2 videos a week of this series. And can you please subscribe, because only 99% of you did not subscribe and only 1% subscribed, because I want to get 100 subscribers before the end of the month. So please do it and subscribe. But anyway, have a nice day. Goodbye.